Omori feels like the most original piece of art to grace the old school RPG scene in years. It tells a heartwarming yet grim story of a child going through depression in a profound way. Its visual style blends pixel art and crayon drawings for something that feels familiar but distinct. Its combat is lively, clever, and has some interesting mechanics that feel perfectly in tune with the themes of the game. The music and sound design is sensational, as it has melodies that have stuck in my head for weeks. It takes typical tropes and mechanics of JRPGs and finds ways to make them more meaningful. And to think that this gem of an experience was made using RPG Maker. Omori's opening first hours are a bit of a mystery as to what's going on. You go from being trapped in an endless repeating white space, to then traversing through a childhood dreamland. The main character is plagued by several phobias that serve as gateways to exploring new areas, and the way to overcome them is so enveloping, as they all tie in with the story in such a poetic way. The visuals in this game are gorgeous for a retro-styled RPG. Every location is brimming with little details, and the sprite work on the various NPCs you come across are often very funny. But certainly the icing on this 8-bit cake are the hand-drawn characters and cutscenes illustrated in crayons. The way both of these mediums have been so beautifully combined creates an immersive adolescent wonderland brimming with surprises. The bulk of the game will be following your party as they journey through an imaginary lane and get into battles. The NPCs are often hilarious, and it made me eager to run up and talk to everyone I came across. Similar to the early Breath of Fire titles, there are also obstacles that require you to swap out who is the leader in your party to proceed. I especially love how every way a character could help you traverse directly played into their individual personalities. I also love the fun pictures that would pop up and swapping them around. The world of Omori constantly charmed me as I continued to discover various locations that never felt mundane or part of some overdone RPG tropes. It's filled with dungeons, fun puzzles, and side quests along the way. One unique aspect I didn't expect to love yet even think about much is the game's fast travel. Now you eventually do unlock fast travel, which is helpful, and the means of your fast travel is also pretty funny, so I really don't want to spoil anything. But what stood out to me is there's one area where you can't use fast travel, and you must travel by foot every time you visit. But instead of being an annoyance, the necessity of having to travel to this area by foot became an immersive little journey I enjoyed, if only taking but a couple minutes to arrive. Also, the reasoning of why you can't fast travel here made total sense in a canonical kind of way, so I can't complain. I wish more games had aspects like this. I will say there were some times in the game I got confused with my current objective and got lost in a classic sort of NES way, and there isn't any way to chat with party members as a way to get back on track. That might be my only complaint for the entire game. While exploring the world, you will see enemies running around that triggers a battle if you bump into them. I appreciate that the battles in this game aren't random encounters, so you can't avoid them if you choose, but they will attempt to tag you, so you must choose how to avoid them carefully. How enjoyable the battles are in this game really highlights the finer qualities of turn-based battle system, and Omori has a very unique spin on it. It's reminiscent of the old classic Earthbound, but far more palatable for a modern game. It was how good the battle system looks as to why I would never guess it was an RPG Maker game, as it goes to being an entirely crayon-drawn experience that never stopped looking great. From the moment I cast the first spell and saw pages written in front of Omori, I was in love. Battles are full of fun animations that flow perfectly with the pace of the fight, and have so much personality to them. The enemies range from being cute bunnies to entire planets, several with loads of great humor and charm. The boss battles were all memorable, each with unique tracks that cement the atmosphere around you. The standard battle music also never got stagnant, as it rotates depending on area you're in. And as great as the production value certainly is, it's the mechanics where the combat really shines. Each of the characters serve a different role in the party, such as support and damage dealers, but what sets this game apart is its emotion mechanic. Every character and enemy can go from being neutral to being made happy, angry, or sad, and each emotion has a different perk and drawback. Happy, for instance, makes your character more likely to land a critical strike, but also makes him more likely to miss an attack altogether. Additionally, some spells will have bonus effects if you cast it with a corresponding emotion. Using emotions is also a great way to take advantage in battle, and there are also some enemies that won't take any damage whatsoever unless you get them in a specific mood to make them vulnerable. The difficulty in this game isn't very steep, but also not a complete pushover at the same time. There were a few genuine times that I died at a boss fight, and I love that the game bested me. Aside from the emotion mechanic, there is also a clever revenge meter that feels like an intelligent evolution of the limit breaks found in Final Fantasy VII. As the characters take damage, it builds up to a meter in the center of the screen. With this meter, you can make your party take additional actions when it's their turn to fight. Overall, did a great job to make me consider if I want to use the ability purely on offense, defense, or to be saved up for something bigger. Like most RPGs, your party gains experience from battles and learns new spells as you level up. I like this traditional approach here, as I think it always did a good job to reward the player. It's quite welcome here. The battles in Omori are nothing short of fantastic, and one of my favorite aspects of the entire game. Omori's story is definitely an emotional one, as it goes from super cheery, fun-filled scenarios to these nightmare segments that will make the hairs in the back of your neck stand up. It's almost as if you're playing Super Mario RPG at one moment, only for it to turn into Silent Hill the next. And the roller coaster of emotions the story was able to pull from me is a testament to its quality. And like any good story, it's supported by a strong cast of characters. Every single one of them felt very fleshed out, and all of them endearing in their own way. Especially the main character's older sister. The fondness I grew for this character over the course of the game honestly made me feel what it's like to be the younger sibling growing up, and having someone that special in your life. The story was unlike anything I experienced, and I feel it's very unlikely that anyone will go through this game and not be touched by it. Having a masterpiece for a soundtrack is something many games today can claim, especially since about every beloved classic JRPG out there is paired with an incredible soundtrack. But like the ones that have inspired this game, Omori's music is full of heart and imagination. It's quirky when it's funny, it's tense and unnerving when it's dark and mysterious, and it's uplifting and beautiful when it's uplifting and beautiful. These feats itself may not be uncommon when compared to the greatest games of its genre, but I can easily say it can sit beside the best soundtracks you ever listened to in an RPG. As for the sound design itself, that is also quite fantastic. When I think of new RPGs and how often they fall far from the mark compared to the ones that blew me away from my childhood, I can't help but wonder if I just have those rose-tinted glasses given to me by my younger self. But then I play a game like this, and I feel validated in my belief that I haven't played a game this good since the 90s. I think the elephant in the room is how similar to Undertale Omori is. Just about every bragging right I could give to this game, I could have given to Undertale 5 years ago. Despite me saying that, I in no way would call this game an Undertale knockoff. For one, it started development way before Undertale was released, and as many strong suits as they share, I can also think of several reasons where they are separate and uniquely great. And Omori is real greatness, through its satisfying exploration and the lovable cast of characters you will get to know while traveling through it, its sign-winding narrative or brilliant take on traditional turn-based combat, the fact it has such a moving soundtrack, and the delicious creepypasta moments. These are all games that came out in 2020 that I do love, and they have not done what Omori has. An RPG maker. This is why you should play Omori.